The music you have just heard invites us to arrive, to settle body and spirit, and to prepare for this time of worship. As an act of care for those who are gathered here and for those who are joining us online, please silence your devices so that we may share this time in presence and connection. If you're visiting today, you're invited to fill out a card. See my visual aid? From the seat back, and we turn it at the welcome table in the back or in the offering plate so that we may extend our greetings to you. Please know that whoever you are, wherever you are from, whomever you love, and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to San Gabriel Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Whether you're here in the sanctuary or joining us online, for the first time or the 1,000th, we're glad you're here. My name is Fran Holt. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm honored to serve as your lay leader today. San Gabriel is part of a larger movement of Unitarian Universalist congregations working together for a just, peaceful, and sustainable world. And here in this community, we begin that work by sustaining one another with love.
Good morning. I'm Eric Hepburn. My pronouns are he, him. I'm honored to serve as your minister this morning. We're going to be calling a number of audibles during the program today because the digital god has gone dark. So we'll see if we can't find our way through the dark holding hands. Together we'll enter a time of word and silence, of song and spirit as we shape this time of worship. That time deepens as we light our chalices. Please recite after me the chalice lighting words. We light this flame to remind us. Love is the center. As we grow and connect. Mature and deepen. Love is our center. When the light of truth burns all else away. Love endures. Let us greet this day in song. Our calling in song is When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. It's number 1008 in the Healed Hymnal, and we'll be singing 3 verses. The lyrics will not be projected. I'm going to give y'all a minute to find these books that we don't use so often. If you've got extras on the chair in front of you, please look for somebody around you who needs one. 1008, 1008. Please rise as you're in body or spirit as we join our voices to welcome the day and one another.
Praise and grace, may our heart is in a holy place. know why couldn't find that, because we were looking for the healed hymnal.
I'm confused, but that's okay, Bill. I'll just stay that way. It'll be better for all of us. The Wonder Box reminds us that wisdom often comes in small packages, and that curiosity is a sacred gift at every age. Candace White, our Director of Religious Exploration, will now share this time of learning and wonder with us.
Good morning. Every week we look inside the Wonder Box to see what we're going to be doing in the little house today. We've turned the little house into a little RE art studio for the month of August. So let's see what we're going to be doing today. Today, our Wonder Box is holding pieces. One piece of cardboard, one small square, one piece of yarn. I wonder what happens when one piece joins other small pieces. I wonder what this could become if somebody added color. What could these become if someone added it to another piece? What if someone gave it a title? What if it found its place? Our exhibition is called Becoming Together. That means no one piece has to do everything. A canvas can show a becoming. A cardboard sculpture can show a transformation. A small square can show a gift. Today in the Little House, we are tending the work. Some artists will finish canvases, some artists will help cardboard structures, and some will make a brand new piece. Our question today is, what do we each bring to the community? Maybe you bring color, maybe you bring questions, maybe you bring care, imagination, laughter, maybe you bring steadiness, maybe you bring something no one else can bring in quite the same way. Today we help every piece find its place. So may your song be our blessing as we take this to the little house and explore it some more.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Our hearts hold both joy and sorrow. Spoken here, they become healing medicine. If you wish to share, please raise your hand, begin with your name, and hold the microphone so that your voice flows into it. A brief word spoken with care can be enough medicine for us all. Thank you for sharing. And for all that remains unspoken, this community holds you in love. It's all good. Now we pause to honor the great world house of which we are a part, lifting up the needs, the hopes, and the voices beyond these doors. This week in Tacoma, Washington, 140 people stopped eating. They're being held in an immigration detention center, a private for-profit prison where profits increase when more people are held longer. Most have not been convicted of anything. They are waiting, Some of them have been waiting a long time. We do not have a list of their demands. We rarely do. But that is not an accident. The silence is not the absence of a message. It is a message prevented. But we do not need their words to know what they are asking. Any of us held in that place would ask for the same things: to eat unspoiled food, to drink clean water, to see a doctor, to have my medicines, to know how long I will be held, to be told why, to see my family, to see my spouse, to see my children. A hunger strike is a body speaking when a voice has been silenced. This morning, we listen to 140 bodies, and we lend them our voice. Amen. Our song of yearning this morning is "Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen," arranged by J. Althouse. Let these words and melodies open our hearts to longing, to hope, and to all that aches for healing in us and in the world.
That was beautiful, thank you. After the words are spoken, we will breathe together in silence until the ringing of the bowl calls us onward into the space where the word unlocks among us. We welcome this voice of wisdom carried through Elizabeth Schussler Fiorenzi. Since the reality of the kingdom of Jesus spells not primarily holiness, but wholeness. The salvation of God's kingdom is present and experientially available whenever Jesus casts out demons, heals the sick and the ritually unclean, tells stories about the lost and those who are found, the uninvited who are invited, and the last who will be first. Not the holiness of the elect, but the wholeness of all of us is the central vision of Jesus.
Not the holiness of the elect, but the wholeness of all is the central vision of Jesus, the central concept of the kingdom. Now, some of you are new and don't know this, so I'll talk about it for a minute. My pluralism, my own personal religious pluralism, runs in the following way. There have been many peoples, communities, and cultures in this world, and they have all sought relationship with that which is ultimate, with that which is at the edge of knowing, the leading edge of mystery, the corner of darkness, the answer that after you get good at thinking, you realize that thinking only gets you in a circle. It's all tautological, but it can't answer the big question about why you're here, not on its own. So all cultures have struggled with this. They've developed spirituality and spiritual practices. They have institutionalized those practices into religions. And occasionally, as you might be aware, those religions have sometimes forgotten that they were about spirituality and spiritual practices and become about other things. So today, of course, we're just off the rails because I actually spent time developing a video graphic that I'm supposed to show you on the screen and talk about today. That's okay. We'll put it in the newsletter. But I'll describe it for you, and I'm going to use a whole bunch of mixed metaphors. We started with Jesus in the kingdom of God, and I'm now about to grab something from Hinduism, layer it with something from Taoism, and then we'll go from there. So over the summer in July, we talked about this idea that one way to look at humans is to think of us as gut, heart, head, and spirit. Now, when we went through that, based on some ancient traditions like the Enneagram, when we did that, I might have given you the impression of some sort of linear progression that was necessary, or some sense of necessary hierarchy in the thing. But this theme today of wholeness, this theme that the mystery underneath the words that we can come up with is somehow about the wholeness of the thing, not the hierarchy of the thing, is part of what I want to help us uncover today. And I'm hoping that at the end of this talk, y'all both feel two things. One, you'll feel an understanding about why we're starting a new Wednesday evening program and why it might be worth it for you to try it out in your own way. So, it is true in the unfolding of time as developmental entities that there is typically a progression in time-space. Gut. Anybody ever known an infant? They are all gut, baby. And then the heart gets involved when the gut's too unhappy. And then the terrible 2s and 3s. Now it's like the terrible 5 years. I don't know. They keep moving the goalposts. It's all about, oh my God, I don't know what to do with all these big feelings. My heart came online, and I am just overflowing with feelings about everything. I also happen to have the good fortune of having a teenager in the house. And I think when you get older, like I am, it's easy to discount how smart we were when we were teenagers. The teen years are the brain coming online, and it's grappling with so much. And a lot of times, it gets tired of all that heart noise and gut noise and just squashes it down so it can have more space for thinking. And then the journey of midlife is figuring out, oh wait, actually, I kind of need my intuition and my body on this journey. Oh, wait, I think I might need my feelings too. Maybe they ought not go neglected. And if we do that work of the midlife of reintegrating gut and heart, now, this is an average thing. This isn't going to fit everybody. Some of us stayed gut people. These things still came online, but we stayed gut people. And some of us stayed heart people. But I think at this stage in history, in evolution, in whatever label you want to put on it, most of us, the problem is we get stuck in the head. It's why anxiety is such a crippling sociological, anthropological phenomenon where we live in. It's why I haven't met a person in this church yet who, when I talk to him about anxiety, is like, yeah, I don't know, that's not one of my struggles. I mean, there might be a few of you. We haven't talked about it yet. For most of you, the anxiety and the fear that generates it is one of the big struggles. And I'm here to tell you that it's normal, and it's okay, and it's surmountable. Surmountable. Like, you might have been stuck in it for 20 years, but it doesn't mean you have to stay there. So we have spirit. Now, spirit could be the next step on that ladder, right? Like, after we do this integration work in the midlife, we can live out of a more spiritual place. And that might mean different things to different people in the audience, and I'm not going to try and dig all the way down that rabbit hole today. Instead, I'm going to share a story with you first, and then we'll get back to describing the graphic that you can't see. This will translate perfectly into my podcast, by the way, because they also can't see the graphic. So maybe this is just Spirit's way of getting me to do what I should have done in the first place, which is to not spend 3 hours with AI trying to make the right graphic. So the story goes like this. I had the pleasure once upon a time of showing up to a large venue at the University of Texas and seeing the Dalai Lama. And if you've ever seen any of the many documentaries that he's featured in or read his work, you'll know that one of his catchphrases, one of the things that he says over and over again is, "I'm just a simple monk working toward my death." I'm just a simple monk working toward my death. Our finiteness has something to do with this whole thing. We don't have to know what exactly, but recognizing that it is matters. So now into this story, I'm going to weave another teacher of mine. Quite a few years ago now, I think it's been about 7 years, my middle sister died of an opioid overdose. And a good friend of mine, Amy, was studying at the time to be a death doula. So someone who helps people who are at hospice in points in their life navigate that. And she, of course, found out that this had happened, and she brought me a book. And she said, I've had to read a lot of books on this stuff in my studies to do this work, but I knew immediately which one was for you. And she brought me a book called Die Wise by a man named Stephen Jenkinson. And if you've been coming here for a while, you hear me drop his name at least once a month. So that's not a surprise to anybody. Well, except new people who are like, who's Stephen Jenkinson? So Stephen Jenkinson is he's one of the founding voices in palliative care. He wrote this book called Die Wise. He's done a lot of stuff since then. He ran a palliative care unit at a teaching hospital in Canada. He's also just a fantastic writer. So the first summer that I was here in this pulpit, I used my professional development money to go to a retreat that he offers at his school in Canada. Now, here's the interesting thing about the timing of all that. 6 months before the retreat, or thereabouts, he had been diagnosed with Parkinson's. Now, here is a man who had written eloquently, touchingly, deeply about how we all know that everybody else is going to die, but we don't know we're going to die until we get the bad news. We all know everybody else is going to die, but we don't really know that we are going to die until we're dragged to it by a cancer diagnosis or some other happenstance in life that tells you your tunnel is almost over. Now, the man who wrote that and who did amazing intellectual, poetic, spirit-filled work to try to help people learn that lesson so they could do what the Dalai Lama was preaching. They could become simple practitioners working toward a good death, becoming whole and wise before the bad news gets here. Realized in his own life, and what he shared with us at the retreat was in his own life realized that he had written about it. He had talked about it. He had counseled others on it, some of them even helping to get to that place before their bad news came. But when his came, he wasn't ready. It was just the same bolt out of the blue that he had described for everyone else. And over the 3 days of the retreat, he brought in some former students of his and did Q&A sessions, and one of them asked, what is it? It's clear from what you've shared for the last 3 days that even though you had written about this, even though you had counseled others down this road and tried to prepare them for the road before they got there, even with all of that, you've made it clear to us that you still weren't ready. Do you think you missed something? Or is the advice different now? Like, what has changed for you, Stephen, in this having now come to the place where it's not theoretical anymore, where it's not a mental exercise anymore, where the tunnel and its length are now apparent and real for you? And he said, it won't surprise you to know that I've been thinking about this a lot. And he said, the one thing that I think I would change In the last 6 months, I've really started exploring some embodied practices. Yoga, breathing, meditation, like practices for being present in my body. And I never took those seriously before. He says, but I think if I had started those practices 20 or 30 years ago, that combined with my other work, I think I would have been able to show up to that moment very differently. Now, I'm going to tell something that won't surprise most of you, but may surprise some of the new folks again, which is, I don't know if you know this about Unitarian Universalists and the liberal religious Christian heritage that spawned them. They're pretty intellectual. They're pretty much head first. And be honest, I roll that way many days. And it's how we roll together on Sundays. We bring in music and we bring some other things in to try and get the heart active. We try to stand up and sing and get the body into it just a little bit, but we're still pretty self-conscious because we're mostly up here still. But Sunday is our head first day. And I'm not saying that as an indictment. I'm saying it as a loving observation that I think applies to me and to most of y'all. Like, we come in here on Sunday and we do some songs and some sermon and try and wrap our head around stuff. And it's good and it's necessary. But Wednesday night is going to be about bottom up. If Sundays are about top down, starting with our head, trying to get the heart involved, Wednesday nights are going to be bottom up. It's going to start with embodied experience and then try and engage the heart in that and let the head take a little bit of a rest. It's still allowed to show up. Quieting the mind is a many, many year practice for those of you who have tried some of the Buddhist methods. So you don't have to already have a quiet mind to show up on Wednesday. You just have to be willing to try some things that invite you to realize the truth that your body is neither an inconvenience nor tertiary to your existence. Despite what Descartes said, your body is not tertiary. Whatever this experience is that we have, this thing called life, it is an embodied thing when done properly. It is an embodied thing. This isn't, as some preachers will say, some temporary prison of punishment for your soul or your mind. It is the thing you are invited to find harmony within and harmony without. And that is what we're going to try to do on our Wednesday nights. So for a while now, we've been having singing resistance on Wednesday nights because getting together and singing together, for those of you who have participated already, you realize it's not so much about thinking. It's about letting the body sing and the emotions come up in the face of injustices that you know about intellectually. It's following a movement that started in Minneapolis, this singing resistance movement. And following that, we are going to do some earth-based practices. This past Wednesday, we had a sound bath. That is a guided sound meditation for those of you who are like, I don't know what that means. The simplest version, it's a guided sound meditation. It also is going to happen on the Wednesday closest to the full moon, because there are cycles of life happening around us, inviting us to be engaged with them that we've been taught to ignore and ought to remember. And so this coming Wednesday, on the rising quarter moon, we will do drum journeying. I will be leading it, and it will be another kind of sound-guided meditation. On the full moon, we'll do a drum circle, which is a all ages, everyone's welcome, we all play together. And then on the waning moon, we will do grief tending. So for those of you who were in the congregation after the election, and we did the posters on the wall with the 5 gates of grief, and did some work to come to terms with our sadness, to be in relationship with our sadness, to know that here's the secret, folks. It's one of many secrets that's not really a secret. When you do this to your sadness, that glass ceiling that you just pushed down, it affects your joy equally. Your unwillingness to feel sadness translates into an inability to feel joy. It's one of the things I discovered in the wake of my sister's death. I had been searching in my life for some lost joy. I didn't know where it had gone. I didn't know why it wasn't showing up in moments where I expected it to be there. And I found it under a rock called grief. When I found a way to let myself really deeply grieve my losses, suddenly I showed up into those other moments and my joy was there again. What a gift. So, the journey to wholeness. I told you the story of the Dalai Lama and Stephen Jenkinson, and I'll cap that story in this way. We honor our teachers by learning the lessons that they had to learn the hard way. We honor our teachers by learning from them the lessons that they had to learn the hard way. And so I'm honoring those lessons by showing up here in Georgetown every Wednesday and inviting you to come along. Now, let's return to the invisible graphic. So we talked about the gut and the heart at the head. And now I'm going to overlay Unitarian Universalist theology, the newest version of which says love at the center. And now we're going to overlay the other chakras. So we've got the heart chakra, love at the center. We've got the gut chakra, intuition and embodied experience matter, and they're valuable. And the head chakra. I'm not asking anybody to give up thinking. I'm asking you not to be a slave to your thinking. One of the core lessons that I try and teach my teenage son is this: not every thought you think is true. How often, though, do we walk around assuming that every thought we think is true? The essence of developing spirituality as a practice, as a known reality in your life, is that spirituality layer is the truth sayer that can answer the question about whether a particular thought you had was true or false, whether it was ego or divine insight, whether it was an accurate perception of reality or a projection of your own woundedness. Your mind that just generated that thought isn't that good at self-awareness. The self-awareness comes from that spiritual layer. That ability to say, that unkind thought I just had about my spouse was about my defensiveness, not about their value as a human being. Even though, had I given that thought voice, it definitely would have sounded like the latter. So, we've got love at the center. We have the head chakra. We have the gut chakra. Now, I want you to envision a yin-yang symbol. It's got the white dot and the black dot surrounded by fields of alternating color. They begin over these chakras, and they rotate with the heart at their center. On Sunday, we will begin here in the UU tradition, in our headspace, and we will talk about all this stuff, and I will describe diagrams to you. And that will be our Sunday. And on Wednesday, we will show up, and I won't talk like this. I will invoke a ritual, and I will play drums, and we will have an embodied experience together from here, all the while keeping love at the center. Does that make sense? So, I found some practitioners in the community who I trust and have a relationship with. Sabine Countryman's running our sound bath. June Williams and Ashley Blackwell will be running our grief tending. I will be running our drum circle and our drum journeying. We're going to share with you the practices that we've found. But I talked at the very beginning about my own brand of pluralism. I am not teaching you these practices because they're the one. I'm not teaching them. I'm teaching you because they're the ones I know. And they're the ones that have helped me and worked for me. And I cannot and will not even try to guarantee that they're the right practices for each and every one of you. I'm asking you to be brave enough to experiment and answer the question for yourself, does this work for me or does it not? And I bet there are several of you who have some practices that you know, that you've developed, that work for you. And maybe you're feeling an itch right now that, well, I mean, maybe I could share the practices that I've learned with my community. Maybe that is something that's calling to me. If that's true, please send me an email. My vision is like in 5 years, like we've got every room of this campus full of people. We've got people going in and painting, coloring, drawing, doing art because that's a practice for them. We've got people doing seated meditation. We've got a group doing yoga. We've got groups doing ecstatic dance, really getting out of it. And we've got singing resistance and other things. And we've got all these things happening in this 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock hour, individual groups doing practices that work for them. Members of this community who've spent a lifetime developing a practice that works for them, sharing that practice with others so they can find out if it's something they want to add to their repertoire. And then after that 6 to 7 hour, we come together and do a big group thing. That's the sacred currents thing. For those of you for whom those practices work. So that's the idea. I've said things from this pulpit before, like I've had a fair amount of feedback that says something along the lines of, well, you tend to get dark pretty easily and outline the troubles and the stumbling blocks and the this, but you don't preach life is beautiful kinds of stuff very often. I wish you'd do that more. And I've responded to that by saying, if I thought you could get to a place where you could experience deeply the beauty of life and keep the bad stuff repressed, I'd say yes. But the problem that I see when I look out at the world is not that there's not enough people trying to preach the good news, like just gonna pretend that's not happening, isn't it? That's so great. It's so great to be a privileged American in today's world. I love it. It's just wonderful. It's great. It's great. I mean, not so great for my gay friends and not so great for my friends of color, but, you know, my 401k is doing smashing. If I thought that was the kingdom that all the sages spoke about, I would do that. But what I see is people filling up a God-sized hole with other stuff and wondering why it doesn't work. I see them stuffing their self-satisfaction at their social status or the productivity of their 401k or their life accomplishments in the hole but they're not showing up, as the Dalai Lama said, whole at the time of their death. Their death arrives and they are like, what have I been doing? No, seriously, like, what have I been doing? That's the look that I've seen on people's faces when they hit that moment and all they have is their bag of stuff. It's, as Stephen Jenkinson describes it, a white-knuckled affair to show up to your death and realize that all the shit you collected is meaningless. And to wonder where your attention has been. We honor our teachers by learning the lessons that they had to learn the hard way. We also honor our ancestors sometimes by learning the lessons they refused to learn. I'm going to end on this story. I'll try not to make it too bleak. So, my mom was 16 years old when she had me, and she was 17 when I was born. From the age of around 2.5, I spent every summer with my grandparents, which I think was a good thing for a great many reasons. And so my grandmother was like a second mom to me. Now, I get to tell this story in part because both my mother and my grandmother are dead. And so speaking for the living without their permission is one thing, but I'm willing to speak for the dead. Now, when I was a child, I thought my grandmother was one of the most loving people. She certainly cared for me and loved me. But as she aged, I watched her become more and more calcified and closed off and resentful. And I just watched her over the course of 40 years just toxify. I don't know how else to describe it. Maybe you all have friends. Maybe you've known some people in your life like that who they just kept getting more and more bitter the older they got. Whatever their dysfunctions were that were kind of manageable in their 30s, by the time they were in their 80s, were just like so intense. So intense that people who loved them were like, I can barely stand to be around them. Is this resonating with anybody? Has anybody known people like this? I preached on this on Mother's Day a few years back, if you want more details. I'm not going to go there today. But I honor her by learning how not to do what she did. Don't be afraid of being angry. Don't be afraid of being sad. Don't be afraid of looking weak. Don't tell yourself that you're worthless if you don't do X, Y, Z. These are the patterns in her life that continued to grow and constrict and congeal until she was a precious soul trapped in a box she couldn't escape. And she died that way. She died because she was going to die, but we all are, right? But we just don't know it until they tell us. But she could have gone to the doctor, but she refused to tell anybody the symptoms of what she was even going through. She didn't want to look weak. Grandma, we can get some people to come and I'll be over my dead body while someone clean my house for me. Guess she got her wish. Nobody cleaned her house for her. But the message that accepting help from another person is weakness and not courage doesn't resonate with me. So one of the lessons I learned from her is that being able to say, I'm not well today, Bob. I'm going to need some help setting these chairs back up after the meeting yesterday. Will you come help me? Like that's not weakness. Like that is not strength here or here or here. That's strength here. To admit we need help. To accept the love from others that we would freely give them. We're all so willing to give, aren't we? Oh, I'll go help so-and-so. Oh, let me do this for you. No, I'm fine. I'm good. I don't need any help. Oh, are you in need? Dave, let me come in. Oh, Dave, let me help you out. Oh, no, Dave, I'm good. I'm good. You know me. I'm good. Does that resonate with anybody? Do you see that act? So it's just ego, friends. So whether we talk about it from Jesus or the Eastern wisdom traditions or Islam, it doesn't, or the humanists, secular or non-secular, it's the same wisdom. When you shine the light on it from all these different directions, it's the same truth. Be in your body and stop being afraid that other people's perceptions of you define you. That's just ego stuff. And ego stuff, I've said this before, I'll say it again, probably 1,000 times. You'll probably get sick of me saying it. Probably you'll send me off to another church in a few years because you're tired of hearing about it. Ego is absolutely 100% normal as a developmental part of human being. And when I see strong egos in teenagers and 20-somethings, it causes me no grief, stress, or surprise at all. When I see ego lauded in people in the second half of life, it tells me that the train has gone off the rails. If you are in the second half of your life still struggling with ego, you know what your work is when you leave here today. Like you know. And if you're not showing up to that work, you're not showing up to the only work that matters in your life. Because that ego is the thing between you and the Dalai Lama's vision. And you can't think your way past it. But the ego will try to say, oh yeah, I can. I'm so smart. Watch this. We'll just talk it right around in a circle until I convince you that you're dizzy enough to forget me. But when you sit quietly on the mat with the drum imitating the sound of a human heartbeat, your soul can see the lies of ego for what they are. And that is why embodied practice matters. Amen.
Each week we give an offering to sustain this spiritual home and to support the work of our fellowship. Today's offertory music is Traumerei by Robert Schumann, offered by Joe Nesham, and Judy Mayo. May our gifts and this music be blessings. The offering will now be gratefully received.
When you do the covenant, they're not going to have the screen, so just say, please repeat each line after me. And now we return to this beloved house, where our covenant lives in the announcements and invitations we share. We will today, after church, have a prospective member orientation in the fellowship house at noon. So if you're a visitor interested in learning more about San Gabriel, you're welcome to grab a snack after service and then head over to the fellowship house. It's the second building down that way out the back there. And we'll see you there at noon. The session is about 2 hours. We will have childcare. Please join us on Wednesday for Singing Resistance at 6 and for Sacred Currents at 7:15. Our Sacred Currents event for this rising quarter moon is drum journeying. If that's new to you, think of it as a drum-guided meditation or relaxation practice. You're invited to bring a mat, a blanket, a pillow, and an eye mask, whatever you need to get comfortable. The drum journey is open to older children who wish to participate. We have had several requests for Wednesday evening childcare, which is not in our budget this year. So if you'd like to volunteer to do Wednesday evening childcare or make a special donation to support us hiring childcare on Wednesday evenings, please email me at minister@sangabrieluu.org. Also, in preparation for Wednesday, I would ask a few volunteers after coffee hour to help me by stacking the chairs in the sanctuary, just the front section. You can leave the back section, but we need to stack up the chairs and push them against the wall before we clear the church today. So if you can lend a hand with that, that would be greatly appreciated. We have a joining ceremony scheduled for Sunday, August 30th during the service. If you've been visiting or attending and are ready to take the next step, please sign up at the welcome table. For others, if you're looking for ways to get more involved, please consider becoming a Sunday morning greeter. Help us welcome everyone with a smile, hand out the bulletin, and direct newcomers to the welcome table. If you're interested, please visit the welcome table today. Now, next week, I will be in Chicago to launch the final year of my Doctor of Ministry program, and our own Jamie Moore will be in the pulpit for a Social Justice Sunday on fat liberation. San Gabriel will also be hosting a film screening of Your Fat Friend on Saturday, September 19th at 3 p.m., and that's open to the whole community. Did I forget anything important? Going once, going twice. All right, and that's the news from this beloved house.
We close with the words of our covenant, promises we make to one another and to the world. Please repeat after me. Love is the spirit of this community.
Love is the spirit of this community.
Truth is our sacred quest.
Truth is our sacred quest.
Justice is our prayer.
Justice is our prayer.
We dwell together in peace.
We dwell together in peace.
We seek wisdom in freedom.
We seek wisdom in freedom.
We serve life in fellowship.
We serve life in fellowship.
We grow in harmony with the sacred.
We grow in harmony with the sacred.
Thus do we covenant with one another.
Thus do we covenant with one another.
Our returning song is Soon the Day Will Arrive, number 146 in the gray hymnal. We'll be singing 2 verses. Please rise in body or spirit as you're able, and let us sing our way forward into the world, renewed, strengthened, and together. 146.
Please recite after me the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame to remind us.
We extinguish this flame to remind us.
Love is the center.
Love is the center.
As we explore and rest,
As we explore and rest,
engage and heal,
engage and heal.
love is our center.
Love is our center.
When only ashes remain,
When only ashes remain,
love endures.
love endures.
One of these days, I'm going to memorize my own benediction. Not today. I offer you this blessing. May your thoughts be wise. May your lips speak truth. May your heart be open to love. May your hands be ready for service. And may your life join in the great work of beloved community. Amen. Ashe. Namaste. Blessed be.